Hi everybody, welcome to episode 10 of the Teesside Business Podcast. Today we're very lucky to have Michelle here, who's going to tell us a little bit about her business and how she works in with her family life, etc. So we'll jump straight into it. Hi Michelle, thank you so much for coming.
Hi, thank you.
If you want to start off with just by telling us a little bit about your business and a little bit about what it does.
Right, well, it's Michelle Corbin Design. I started it to work around my kids, basically.
Okay.
I used to be a freelance hairdresser and college lecturer.
Yeah.
Didn't think that would work, so I thought, right, I'll be a stay-at-home mum. And I'd done a soft furnishings course, so I thought, well, I'll kind of...
work it in with that.
Yeah. So it started off being blinds and curtains and things, but they were a bit too big for my house.
Yeah. So the walls were coming in on you slowly but surely.
Exactly. So, and inspired by my kids, I kind of just started making tooth fairy cushions, and it kind of just took on from there. And my main business now is taking baby clothes or bereavement clothes and making them into keepsakes, into bears or bunnies and things. And I just like to make, it's basically all about memories. It's
well, it's a massive thing, isn't it? Like we'll get on with it a bit later, but home and family life is something we talk about a lot with everybody in here, because it's something that's always kind of brushed over when it comes to business.
Yes,
you know, it's but it's such a massive part of your life. But me and my wife, our daughter's nearly two next month she is. And we're the same. You get through that age where you've got all of these like little keepsakes, and you get a million baby grows and stuff. You end up keeping them, but you're just keeping them
in a box.
The box somewhere, okay, rather than like having something made out of it. So
I
think she saw somewhere you can have them made into a teddy or something. I think she.
Yep.
Just like that. There was only. I swear I didn't know that. A seamless link.
Yep. So bears and bunnies, cushions, quilts, or anything like that. You can just make.
Okay.
So and also it can be appliqued into different pictures and things. It can be whatever you want.
You can mix it.
Yes, it's.
That's such a really good thing, because so many people have got all these memories and they have no idea really what to do with them. You know. So when you started doing like the soft furnishing course and things like that, was that a means to an end? Like, did you do it because you had an interest in it, or did you do it because I want to do this to start a business kind of thing?
I did it initially really just as an interest. I lost my confidence about going out to a job and everything like that when I had the kids and everything, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mum. So I thought, right, well, I can kind of interpret bits and pieces and just play with it and see how it goes.
Yeah,
and it was a work in progress for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, just to keep me busy in between sleeps and school runs and things, and then it kind of just started to progress really. So
it's really nice, because I imagine there's a lot of mums out there and a lot of women who go through like the same kind of thing, you know what I mean? Not again, it's one of those things that not a lot of people talk about, but it's such an unbelievable like stressful time for that time where you've been off for maternity, now it's time for work again. And it's such an unnatural thing for you to go, well, you've looked after these tiny human beings and been responsible for everything for them for a year.
Yes.
But now you've got to leave them and go away.
Yeah.
And a lot of I can totally, I can totally get it, and it's great that you've kind of thought, well, actually, this is how I'm going to do it, kind of thing. Some
people can take it into a negative, but I can't make it into a positive and grow with it really.
And it's good that you did set it up I know it's a term kind of like a lifestyle business, but you can work it around your family and things like that.
Absolutely, I'm there for school runs and everything, if for the doctors or anything like that. And
it's it's such a massive thing. Like I was just talking, I texted Rick this morning that my daughter's ill, been up all night with the kind of thing. Bit of a fever and not happy. But it's my wife's non-working day to day. But if she didn't have that, she would be. She'd be still at home and stuff like that. Well, she would straight away be at home, there's no way she would have gone. But it's great that, and a lot of people don't realise kind of we talk about a lot, what they want their business at the end to be. Mark Simpson, who's on a previous podcast, got a company called Boostly, has very much kind of set his business up the same way so he can spend a lot of time with his family.
Right, yeah.
And he really liked that, and it was a great idea that he didn't want to build something that all of a sudden got out of hand, because a lot of people have kind of got this weird idea about business that it should be just as big as possible. Everything should be Nike from the start, and it's such because people end up getting at the end of being really unhappy.
That's it. My idea was always for my business to grow with my children. So as the children grow up, hopefully the business will get that little bit stronger and bigger. Not too big.
But just you're always in complete control of it, which is something that I always think people forget. But as you kind of did it then, so when it started off with the soft furnishings, is it just because you kind of had, you know, you said you started to do like little bits like this. Is it because you realised that you really enjoyed it, or did more people just start asking for it? And
it was
things like
both, really. I enjoyed it. So I started playing around and doing bits and pieces for home and stuff, making gifts for when the kids started going to school, when they were invited to kids' birthday parties, they all got a tooth fairy cushion. It was becoming my statement and things. And then I started getting a few of the mums from school asking me to make something for like their niece or nephew or something, and it kind of just built from there. And it's just something I enjoyed doing. So my mum had always sewn, so it just kind of...
So kind of like picked it on and go from there.
Fell back into it. I did textiles and art when I was at school, but...
You kind of fall away from it and then
exactly.
kind of come back in it.
Yeah.
I suppose there's that creative thing that was always kind of like burning in the back of your mind. Like, I'd be useless at anything like that, but it must be great to be able to like see like items that is, for example, like a baby grow or whatever it may be, and see, oh well, I can do this with it or I can do that with it. Like, you know, it's such a great thing to be able to see, not what it is, but what it could be.
That's it. It is. It's nice. It's nice to capture it from one stage to another. And I always try and take photos of like the befores and afters so that people can see the progression of it and everything. But it's also about working with the customer as well. It's what they want as well, because obviously the items are very personal to them and they've got certain memories. So use what this like a main item. And then,
see, I imagine that's really tricky because obviously you've got like say the item or whatever it is. I'll keep using the baby grow as an example. But you would hate anything that happened to that baby grow because it's like the first one that you brought your kids home from the hospital in or whatever, or the first one they ever wore, whatever it may be. But then like for me to sit here and tell someone, oh well, I want you to make something out of it, but trying to put that into words of what I want you to do with it must be so hard for some people. And it must be quite a stressful thing for you, like not wanting to start work on something that's so precious to somebody unless you've kind of got it mapped out.
It's one of those things where I get them out and then I kind of look at them and then I put them away for a little while and then I get them back out again and I look at them and then I put them away again because I have to have my confidence to actually be able to cut, because like you said, they're so precious. So I have to be 100% sure what I'm doing before I actually is
it one of those things where the ideas kind of come to you while in the shower, walking the dog, you know, just cutting the grass, hoovering I could do this with that, because I'm very much like that. Like, ideas pop to me when I'm doing something. Like, I've always got to leave problems to like percolate kind of thing, rather than
the notepad next to the bed and stuff.
It's like waking up at 3 a.m. Oh, just this. So my brain, like, it kicks like, you know, just information at me random times. I was supposed to be concentrating on taxes, but it's trying to give me solutions to other problems and stuff.
Which is much more interesting.
Oh, much more. No one. I haven't had an accountant on actually yet. If there's one listening, we would love to have you on so I can tell you how I blow my brains out doing your job. So, do you have like a creative process that you go through when you start doing it? Like, do you start like sketching stuff out and designing it and coming back to people, or is it kind of you've got your idea and you start and then start showing them? Like, how does it work?
Depends really. For the sakes of like things like this, I'll design it and then I'll kind of suggest that they can be used for other clothes or just fabrics that I have and things. If it's I've usually designed like the bunnies or whatever, and then people have said I want a bunny, and then a lot of the time they tend to just trust me and let me go with the flow really, which to be honest is easier. If people say, right, I definitely need this to be at the forefront, that's when it makes it harder, because I have got to
shoehorn your kind of how you want it to be into what someone else's idea is.
Exactly. If it's a quilt, sometimes it's easier, but if it's a bunny and it's got like a big logo on the front of a t-shirt or something, that's impossible. So I kind of have to draw the line and decide what's best really.
Which you know, at the end of the day, if they could do it, they would be doing it instead of coming to you. So I'm sure that I read that they're like, do you do classes where you teach other people to do this kind of thing? So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I have a group of ladies who come to my house and we have like a little workshop, and it started off me initially telling them, giving them a project and then making it, and then it kind of just stemmed where they now bring their own projects and I just help them along and everything like that. It becomes more of a social evening as well, obviously. But it's just whatever they're wanting to learn, I'll kind of give them a spin on it and say, well, make this as easy or whatever. But I'm also helping doing some workshops at All Things Wool in Stockton.
We've got some clients on Silver Street. So haven't they recently got quite a bit of press recently for something? I can't remember what it was. They just moved, didn't they? They just
did
it? Is that why they got it there? I'm sure I'd seen them in the news. I couldn't remember what it was.
They moved from Dovecot Street down to
there. So So is it where people just sign up for like a course and they come to it, or do you just do it like every Wednesday kind of thing?
It's just a course, so it's every so often at the moment. Like I say, once a month. There's we've done a cushion course and we've done a couple of quilt courses. We've got another cushion one coming up soon. So
I suppose the possibilities are endless, really, when you start thinking about, which is a good thing.
But we're also using Liberty fabric, and Sam is the only person in this area who's actually been given Liberty.
Right, okay.
License to be able to sell them.
And is that a different type of fabric or like
Liberty of London?
Oh right, I'm sorry, I'm not educated.
You don't know fabric.
Unfortunately, I could never say that I did. Unfortunately, there'll be a lot of people cursing me for that. So I'm guessing this is a very high quality. Or
it's really it's sought after. Really.
Oh right, okay.
And if you've been given the license to actually sell that fabric, then
it's a
huge thing.
Oh, that's awesome. So. But crafting's getting like as a whole is really, really growing.
Yeah.
My mother's quite into it. Like she works for like designs like cards for like Crafters Companion and all the different stuff. And we've got a few bits in the office next door and things. But she was telling me that like colouring's coming back like in a massive way.
Adult colouring.
Yeah, adult colouring. Yeah, not just like paint by numbers type stuff. But that's a massive thing. There's also just a million different things that I don't know why that's not playing ball today. Just turn off. Just like things like knitting and things like that. Sewing, like I suppose my mum was always quite crafty really. When I think about it, she used to do like a lot of cross stitch when I was younger and stuff like that. So I suppose they're all kind of interlinked and things like that.
They seem to be, yeah. I think the handmade business is obviously getting better, and obviously that's why I started wanting to teach a bit more, because obviously I taught with hairdressing, but I want to be able to show this. Free motion embroidery is a thing that I'm really big on, which is this sort of thing where you sketch with your sewing machine rather than actually
really? God,
using
that's
your
incredible.
pen. So that's the sort of thing that I'm kind of wanting to teach a little bit more of as well, so I can do collages and things like that.
That must be so hard when I think about my very limited knowledge of a sewing machine, but like to be able to sketch with it's incredible.
It is. You kind of like have a bit of an idea of what you're doing on your fabric, but then once you've actually got to...
Like, I just want to have a look at that. Like that was done all through sewing machine. So do you
purely with the needle and the sewing
machine? You don't
have
it sketched out and follow it or anything?
Well,
or a rough outline? Or
I have a base of what I'm doing, so I've got lines to follow, and then I get rid of those afterwards once I've stitched it and everything.
It's incredible. It does. If you think I thought it was just that it might have been done freehand or something like that, but that's absolutely awesome. But I didn't even know that existed. I suppose there's so many different things that are out there that people just don't know that are there.
Well, that's it. There's a load of combinations. I mean, a lot sewing machines can go. They can do be computerized and do embroidery themselves.
Yeah.
You can do your freehand embroidery. You can do quilting. There's absolutely loads. And then there's obviously the hand embroidery, which is that over there and stuff. It's
and your beautiful pieces. Like, did you notice any kind of when you come to do like teaching classes and things like that? Did you notice from when you were like doing classes and lectures, etc., with hairdressing that the skills were transferable? Or did you have to kind of like stop it and start again? Because it's still, some like an art form that you're teaching, I suppose, if you will, where you are using your hands, etc. So
it's basically the same, really. You demonstrate what to do, and then they kind of pick it up, or they say, "Well, I'm trying to do this," and you kind of just show them alternatives of. Sometimes, yes, you've got the basics, but they haven't quite got there might be like a little tweak or a sneaky thing that they can do to make it even better. So it kind of like all just kind of rolls into one, really.
Yeah, you say that being able to do it, but like I'm not going to open up, hand stitching courses tomorrow and just go, just do it, it'll be fine. Yeah,
you need to have some basics.
Yeah. So, have you got any areas that you like wanted take the business or anything like that? Is it more the classes side that you want to go down, or is it like the product side, or like? Because obviously one of the things is that it's all handmade and loved things, so I suppose you can only make so many products.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a...
Well, the keepsake industry is kind of a bit saturated now. It's become a very big thing. So I do love making my keepsakes and things, but I'm limiting them now because I want to be able to create more collages and get them into prints and cards and things, and also share my love for it and teach them as well. So I kind of want to bring a bit more of that side into it rather than that side.
Yeah. So
but I never want to get rid of that.
Because you enjoy doing that.
Exactly, but if I can do it in my own time rather than
Yeah, so rather than having, say, something like on like an Etsy store or something where you would constantly do it, it'd be kind of like a bespoke type thing.
Yeah.
So people would contact you for like, I want this, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it. Be from my website or through Facebook, really.
Yeah. So. Which will all be linked below, by the way, for anybody who's interested, in getting one of these incredible pieces made. I know my wife's going to go crazy when she sees it. So, as you grow on, like, what kind of like, there's be a lot of people who are watching this who are in the situation that you were. They're probably starting to get like a bit of a thing where they want to start something up their own. They might be into crafting or something very similar, or making something in some degree, whether it be woodwork or whatever it could be. And they want to start like doing their own business. What kind of advice would you give to people starting to set up? Because it's like, it's not just where somebody's like, says, trains as an accountant and then goes, right, I'm now going to be an accountant. It's a very creative industry, and sometimes it can be maybe a little bit foreign to starting your own business and things. And we always ask everybody what kind of mistakes, not did you make, but what advice would you give to people? Is there anything you think, God, I would never do it that way again? Or
Well, when I was hairdressing, because I'd worked in salons, when I left hairdressing salons and started up my business for freelancing, everything was word of mouth, and it was kind of a little bit more before internet took off so much and everything like that. But when I started this, it was kind of a little bit more unknown to me. It was so I just played around. But the best thing really is practice, know what you want to do, and then just go for it. But do some planning first. Don't just go for it and think, because I set up a Facebook page and hadn't really got a clue what to do with it really. But I mean, that's been a godsend. Once I actually started to learn what to do and how to not network through it, or and communicate with other crafters and things like that, making friends in the same industry or similar industry is a godsend, really.
I imagine it's quite a tight-knit community, especially like in a local area with things like, the shop in Stockton, etc. and things like that.
Yeah, that's it. I've met loads of people through that, and obviously online as well through Facebook. Facebook mainly, because that's where most of my businesses are generally generated from. Back when Facebook first started, there was a lot more networking pages and things, and we used a lot of those to communicate and everything. Now we just kind of we've got like little groups of our own where we're like close with, and we bounce ideas off each other, and we share our work to other people and say, oh, I know somebody who can do that. So it's all
so it's all,
it's a quite very close knit family, but it's huge as well.
But that takes time to build up, I mean, like it's not where you can just go, right, well, I've got a network of people now. And I guess that comes down to practice as well. The more that you've got to go out and engage with that community, and be honest about where you are. I can make this, but I want to start, can anybody help me with this? And,
that's it. But also photography, trying to get your photos right. I was absolutely rubbish to begin with photos. They were absolutely diabolical. But I mean, I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better with them. So it's
well, I imagine it's a huge part of like displaying your products and stuff like that, especially like online and things like that, where they are such like, especially some of the things with the keepsakes, they are like a very tactile product as well. That like I might look at a bear, but it doesn't mean anything. But if that was made out of my my baby girl's first baby grower, then like it would have an amazing like emotional attachment to me. So it's incredible stuff like that. So I want to talk to you a good bit about like work-life balance as well, because people that we kind of like get in are either seem to be in two camps currently, and obviously we're only 10 episodes in, but it's something that really interests me personally. They're either like all in and they're trying to figure out work-life balance as they go, and these are generally people who have started businesses and they really want to grow this business for whatever reason, to provide for the family or because they love it or whatever it may be, and they're trying to work out work-life balance as they go. Maybe they have children 10 years into running a business or whatever it may be. And then there's other people like who kind of go, well, you know what, I want to set this up purely because I want that work-life balance. So have you come across like any kind of problems or anything like that? Is it where sometimes and I imagine they have, where you're thinking, God, I'm actually, I'm doing a lot of work here and a bit less work balance, or where you turn around to customers and you go, well, you know what, actually I can't take any more orders because this will interfere with work-life balance? Has there been anything like that that's happened? Or?
I actually usually get booked up with keepsakes a year in advance.
That's incredible.
So that tends to... it was one of those things at first where I used to just take an order and then just the odd order, and then it started to build up where I was getting more and more orders, and I wasn't very good at actually working out how long each thing would take to do.
Because I imagine each project is different. Something might be really quick, but some may take a lot more work depending on what they want.
Some can just take a day, and then others can take a couple of days because they need extra bits and pieces putting onto it and stuff like that. So it takes longer, and which is one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of slow down with the keepsakes a little bit, because I was getting so many that I was not quite getting my timings right, so I felt like I was letting my customers down, although I wasn't, because I always caught up and I always made sure I had them all intact and what have you. But I don't want to be rushing it towards the end, because I felt like I was working late every night and stuff, and I wanted to be spending the time with my kids. So it's kind of working out the fine line of that's the time that I finish work. Yep. And then
and then the rest is like family time.
Exactly,
and things like that.
So, and then I kind of, what I've started doing now is I've split my hours up so that I do my keepsakes, but I leave some extra hours so that I can do my creativity side as well. Yeah. So,
well, that's a big part of it, I imagine. Generally what we've seen with people who do creative, whether it be for something like this, handmade, or photography, or whatever it may be, they still need that time. Or like photographers, for example, just go out with a camera and just take photos of anything, or and like.
You do, because you get really still of what you're doing, and you lose the love for it because you're just doing it same in, same out sort of thing.
Yeah. So. It must be a really hard challenge actually for creators, one thing, when it starts being a business, because I've spoken to many photographers who love doing landscapes, but for business reasons all they do is headshots for companies and things like that, and it's they need that balance between the two.
Yeah.
So. You say something like that. You have got it very, very not structured, but you have worked it out the best way to work it for yourself.
Yeah.
Was that a process that just like you say happened over time, or was it a light bulb moment? You think, oh, you know what, I actually need to schedule blocks of time. Hey, this is work, this is home, that kind of thing.
Kind of was a bit of both, really. I kind of realised what was going wrong, and I thought, all right, I've got to kind of work it out and I tell you what's really, really helped over the last couple of years is something called bullet journaling. I don't know whether you've ever heard it.
A little bit, like journaling, daily journaling and stuff like that.
It's basically, instead of using a diary, it's putting different categories into order and stuff, and tracking different things. So I've been tracking my time on how I do things better, and also just different scales of different things, and what how can I put it? How many orders I maybe get in one month done, or different things like that, and just putting it into different categories, and also writing down bullet points of things that I need to do, rather than writing a great big list of everything I need to do. Put a couple of important things down, and then But bullet journaling is quite a big thing now, and that's it's. Lots of people have gone very creative with it and do lots of different pictures and things like that with it, which kind of defeats sometimes. Yeah. But if I try and keep it as minimalistic as possible and just do what I really need to do, and it really, really helps. And it's much better than having a diary, because I don't like missing pages. So you can it's a notebook that you can just
fill up and things like that. It's a really good idea. One of the best piece of advice somebody gave me is never have a to-do list. Because I used to have a to-do list, and it just kept getting longer and longer and longer.
Exactly,
and longer.
That's what I was doing. Or I'd lose it.
And then you're like, oh my. But what they said is write down things that you need to do, but diary. I'm the opposite, so I'll I'll live and die by my diary. So my wife always wants to go, did you do this today? And I was like, did you put it in my diary? Because she has access, and she's like, no. And I was like, well, it doesn't get done. If it's not I do what's in my diary, I don't even look at tomorrow and stuff like that. They were laughing at me earlier because I didn't realise tomorrow was Thursday, because I didn't even look. In my mind it was still Monday or something for some strange reason. But that's a really good tip. I know a lot of people do kind of say what they're grateful for and things like that, and what went well and all that kind of thing within journaling. It's not something I've ever done, but I've heard a lot of people.
I've done that, but I don't tend to do it very often. But what I tend to do is put the word of the day down. So if I've had a good moment, I'll write that day off. If I've had an absolute shocking thing, I'll write a word that kind of reflects. And then when I go back and kind of see which is the good bits and which are the bad bits, because that kind of helps and gives me a bit of a boost if I've seen lots of good things. If I've seen some down things, I think, right, need to improve. What did I do wrong in that? And it kind of helps you to improve for the next month.
It does, but I can imagine, especially with within creative industries and stuff like that. Creative is not something you can just turn on. It's not like you can sit down and go, right, I'm now going to start doing this. It kind of comes at probably inopportune times.
Procrastination gets in the way sometimes.
Massively. We're terrible for things like YouTube, where we look for content for clients, then you go down the rabbit hole and you realise that, and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where it must be quite hard to be able to sit down and go, right now I'm working, but if creativity isn't there when you go to do it, sometimes it might be better to come away from it and come back, but that must be quite hard because I should be working, like it must be quite a weird.
It's taken me a while to actually get into a proper discipline sort of thing, so as soon as I've dropped the kids off from school, I now come home, I'll do half an hour networking.
Yep.
And then I'll sit and I'll sew for the rest of the day or whatever else I need to do for my business and stuff until 2:30 when I go and pick my kids up. But then before that, it was kind of like I'd do a bit and then I'd kind of like do the washing or I'd do something else. And because I was obviously at home, I was seeing other things that needed doing, whereas I have to kind of switch off from the house things and just do that. And then when I was picking the kids up before, I was like, I'll just go and do this while you're playing on that, which I needed not to do, and I focus it now and make it work better, really.
But it's hard when you go to do it, especially like going back to the working from home thing. Like a lot of people obviously say, I can't work from home, I've got to do like I think some people can be great at working from home, but sometimes it is very kind of thing where, it might be a case of that you are working from home all day, but you haven't done those jobs even though you've been at home, but you've been at work.
Yes.
And it is like such a I can really understand why some people do need to go, right, either have an office at home where they can close the door kind of thing, or for you, I imagine it's a space that you can do and stuff like that. But rather than like sitting, like, I know a lot of people really suffer from like, if they've got a laptop like on the knee, watching telly or something, because, the world's on the laptop and, they might start watching a movie or whatever it may be. Talking a little bit about like community, speaking of like laptops and going down the rabbit hole, is that something that you find quite hard to like stop once you've started? Because there's such a massive part of business, especially like, the kind of stuff that you do with engaging with like, say, community and networking and things, but sometimes it can really go on, like when you like say draw the line. I imagine it's quite like you say half an hour, but
it has drifted off once or twice, quite a lot to be quite honest, which is when bullet journaling came in, and I now make sure that I just do that half an hour, because it's very easily just to start scrolling down your newsfeed and then saying, oh, that's nice, and oh, what are they up to and stuff, and you just kind of and then you'll go onto Pinterest or you'll go onto Twitter and Instagram and you just do them all, and you think, right, 5 minutes on each one, and then that's it.
See, I never realised the power of Pinterest till I got married. Like, obviously we're a social agency, so we know kind of everything in you. But I really lost my wife to it so it was just like, is a rabbit hole. That's the greatest description of ever for something with Pinterest. Do you think that has had like a massive contributing factor to like the creative industry and the way that came along? It was really not quickly adopted, but pretty quickly.
I think it probably has. I haven't really used it much for my business, although I know I should.
Is it more like an ideas type thing that you do for it?
I just did it for it. Basically, when I went onto Pinterest, it was just basically just getting different ideas or just inspiration for decorating my house or something like that. And then I realised that there's other things that you can do, and you can go on for find tutorials. You can find absolutely anything there. The world is your oyster. Yeah,
completely.
And but I mean, I do now have a business page where I can obviously pin my things and what have you, and I haven't quite worked it out properly how to use it
I think a lot
for that sort of thing, but
I think a lot of the fun is like it is like, say, like Instagram, it's more of a visual platform where Facebook's both visual and you've got the networking side of it as well. So
I think because Pinterest has got lots of like the tutorials and things, it's a great place to go for ideas and how to start. But there is a lot of love-hate relationship with Pinterest and craft, because photos get stolen and stuff. Ideas get stolen and stuff, so it kind of...
we get asked to watermark stuff for people and things like that, because like that is like a popular thing. It's getting quite big, believe it or not, in like hair and beauty salons and stuff. Like salons nick each other's pages, like photos of stuff of nails and things like it's crazy. But I never knew why people do it, because you get found out so quickly.
Oh, you do,
especially in something like this tight knit community is like craft and stuff. It's kind of hang on, didn't you do that? Yeah, I did. And then, it's like, well, I suppose not everybody's honest really either, which is a bit of a shame.
I know, that's it. I mean, you can be inspired by something, but
of course, it's different take it and not credit the person who did it. That's what it's all down to, isn't it? So when it comes to like the community, like in Teesside, is it a strong thing that's like within craft and things like that? Is it getting like, I know you've got things like hobbycraft in Teesside Park and stuff like that. Obviously, I imagine that's like a bit of a very high-priced mass type thing.
Yeah.
It's not really good for communities because you want smaller, locally owned places and things like that. Or
Yeah, it's been a bit tricky, really, which is one of the reasons why I kind of just locked myself at home, really.
Just let people get on with it.
Yeah, there was more, I'm finding out that there's more and more crafters around in the area now. But when I first started, I didn't really see many, but I never really spoke to many people that really knew. But I think it is getting better. I think we could do with somewhere a little bit better than just hobbycraft.
Yeah.
So
is that so? What kind of like? Let's say we had a magic wand and we could start like magic things in Teesside that we like better for the community. Would it be more smaller shops? Would it be more craft fairs? Like, what can businesses do in Teesside to try and like? Is there any gaps or anything like that? Or
art festivals, really, bringing things like bringing creativity, and I think Preston Park is starting to do a few more bits and pieces.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen some bits there.
Yeah, so just kind of developing on that and encouraging people to sit down with their kids. Bring it back to the schools.
That'd be such a massive thing because like I know like my daughter's only 2, but like obviously my mum takes her upstairs into her craft room and lets her play with stuff and stick stuff and all that, and she loves it. Like she like as soon as she goes in my mum's house, she's saying like upstairs and try and get my mum to like come upstairs with her so she can make and stuff. But I suppose like it must be such a great thing for kids to do though and make. But like,
well, yeah, my daughter loves making, my son loves making, and I mean, they both have their different ways of doing things, but like creativity, it's a big thing on education, really, which is one of those things that kind of gets pushed by the wayside, but we won't go into that.
It is like, it's something that we have talked about previously on the podcast. Like, it's no secret that most people who end up owning their own business and things don't become a fan of it. Current education and the way it is kind of like driven by boxes, and people who are creative who've got a different way of doing things are kind of always left by the wayside. Which is a real shame, really.
It is really, because when you look around you, everything around you has been designed. Yeah. So it's come from creativity, and it's not just come from numbers and letters and words and things. And science, there's creativity there. So why it's not developed more within schools, I don't know.
But even to think creatively, even like within things like mathematicians and things like that, there's a lot of creativity within those industries. You know, like within engineering's massively known for creative solutions to problems and things, but creative thinking isn't taught at all, like in any way. Like I won't think until like it's that world isn't between when you get into the real world, I suppose. Then it's kind of like, oh, well, I've been shown how to do this, but I don't care, solve the problem kind of thing, and that's when people roll some stuff.
Shown how to do your tax return and stuff like that.
No one,
no one does that.
I'm so glad I learned that Pythagoras' theorem. I've used it 0 days.
Exactly.
Thanks for all that tax training and mortgages and all that other stuff.
I know, exactly.
So what are the next steps for yourself then? What kind of, is it again more classes or things like that? Are there any businesses that you would like to reach out within the local area, or?
I'm happy doing my workshops at All Things Wool, but I'm kind of wanting to maybe develop a few more workshops myself, maybe some one-to-ones or something like that. But
what's so like kind of doing like private tuition really kind of thing?
Yeah, so that
that's a bit of a gap really.
Yeah, so I could just literally, because it's fair enough having a group of people and walking around, but you don't have enough time to spend with each person, and you can kind of develop a little bit more skills with just the one-to-one really. So hopefully
you'll be able to like, so if anybody's out there who does want, a bit of one, I suppose like some people might not want to go to a class, I suppose, and sit with a lot of people and kind of thing.
Yeah, because mental health's a big thing, and
people huge current mental health month currently, isn't it?
And just getting self-esteem to get out, and creativity kind of helps on that sort of thing. So being able to do that one-to-one and help and develop somebody that way would. But
then they come into a community and there must be so much support and stuff for people. It's something that I've never really thought of. There should be some people like organised and teach, if anybody's listening, who kind of think along those lines by helping people with creativity and things. So that's an excellent point. So if anybody's listening, where are the best places for them to come and contact you?
My website is michellecorbindesign.co.uk.
Yeah, link below.
I have an Etsy shop, but that's closed at the moment. But that's Michelle Corbin Design as well. But Facebook, I'm usually on there with Michelle Corbin Design. Brilliant. And on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay. Are they just Michelle Corbin Designs again on those?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, brilliant. It's okay, we'll be able to link the line. But that's brilliant. Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody out there or anything like that? You don't have to. It was just something I randomly asked. No, people don't. That's the first time I've ever asked anybody, so you're okay.
Totally threw me.
It's okay. Okay, so thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with us. This has been episode 10 of the Teesside Business Podcast. The Teesside Business Podcast is promoted and produced by person-to-person marketing. Thank you very much for listening and watching.